What's going on? Tamale Mafia podcast is back. It is back. I'm your host, Aaron. Sitting next to me, my all-time favorite, number one co-host, Mr. Dax De Leon.
What's up?
What's up, my man?
How's it going?
It's going great. We are back.
Yep.
Man, it feels good to be back.
I haven't done this in a long time. Almost a year.
It's been a year. Almost
year.
exactly. With like a week to spare or two.
Wow.
Yeah. Almost exactly a year. So, man, we are here and we're ready to go. So, what's going on? Where have we been? We have been. You all right there?
Yeah. So during every podcast now, I'm going to be drinking some A&W.
A&W.
And it just went up my nose.
Oh.
The burp. So.
Yeah, maybe drinking A&W carbonated drinks during podcast is asking for disaster.
Yep.
Could be. All right. So here's the deal. We have been, we've been gone for a year, and a few things have changed in the past year. Your voice has changed.
Yeah.
My hair changed.
Bald.
Yep. Losing my hair, so I went with the shave. Went with the, all of my favorite heroes, like all my heroes of all time are bald.
Dr. X,
Yeah, Dr. X. The Rock.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Burr.
Oh, boy.
George St. Pierre.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump. They're all bald. They're all bald, and I figured it was time. It was time. I had the thinning of the herd happening on top for the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
And I had this nice, healthy plume of thick hair kind of in the frontal quadrant. But over the last, couple of months, I noticed there was right on my hairline, in the middle, very center of my forehead, there was
Grand Canyon.
yeah, it was like a finger broke in and started pushing its way back towards the thinning of the herd. And it was splitting my good hair
into halves or
the
thirds.
Red Sea, like little Moses was standing down there and whacked my forehead, and the water was just splitting the hair. So, I was looking in the mirror and I'm combing and trying to figure out how to Donald Trump it, and I was like, dude, I'm not going there. I'm not going to that level. I'm not going to be that person. So I shaved it off. I shaved it all down to the skin.
He has a perfectly round head.
It's like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his hair grows back really fast.
It does, so I'm going to have to stay on top of it, because even though the hair that's there grows fast, but the hair that's not there, it makes it even more obvious that it's not there. So if I had a full mane of hair like I used to, I would just let it go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to cover the thinning of the herd and all that stuff, it's just too much effort. So here I am, bald-headed, and what else has changed? My career path has changed. I think I was listening to a piece of the last podcast episode that I did last year, and I was talking about, towards the end of the podcast, I was talking about my job. I don't even know what I was rambling about. I didn't listen to the whole thing because I don't care.
Something about Bigfoot?
Yeah, I was talking about Bigfoot, but before that I was talking about something about my job, and I was doing computer work and stuff. I wasn't feeling very fulfilled in that, so I decided to chase down another long-time goal of mine, which was to get into law enforcement. So I got into private security, and then I was going to work my way towards law enforcement, getting into the academy and that kind of stuff. And that was reason number 2 why I put the podcast on hold last year, because reason number 1 was just because my life was kind of transitioning, and I had taken this trip to Boston. It didn't really go the way I thought it would, and kind of just derailed me a little bit. So, I was trying to rethink through some things and where am I at in my life and that kind of stuff. And I didn't feel like talking about it on a microphone, so I just laid off the podcast. And then once I decided to get moving towards law enforcement, I was like, well, I really don't want to have a podcast now because the path into law enforcement is so invasive. There's so much, like, they go through everything in your life, every little detail. They listen to everything you've ever said or done. They go back and try to find everything you've ever written, every person you've ever talked to. Like, they have a real invasive approach to making sure that you're not a psychopath that they're going to have on the force. So,
And that's secure.
oh yeah, it's what they need to do. But, you know, it was just another reason why I was like, okay, well, I better not put all my life into a podcast right now. Mm-hmm. And I probably won't ever be able to do it again, because if I go into this career, it'll be real awkward to, you know, have this type of podcast where I talk about my life, but then not be able to talk about my life. So I didn't know what to do with the podcast, but over Christmas break, I guess, as I was still trying to figure out, I was in private security, still trying to figure out what I wanted to do and how I was going to go into law enforcement and going through the paperwork and all this stuff. I was had the opportunity to take a job still in private security, but making the same kind of money I would be making in law enforcement. And then, you know, as an introductory, like as a new guy on the force, still being able to do some fun stuff.
Sorry about that.
Breathing in the microphone.
Yeah.
Breathe that way. Turn your head.
Sorry, I'm new to this.
Still being able to do things that I want to do, and feel like I'm making a difference and having fun and kicking butt every day, you know, that kind of stuff. But not have to go through all the other stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay in private security. I think we can relaunch the podcast. So that's where we're at. That's where we're here. That's where we've been.
Yep. Okay, so.
And since then, what else has changed? You're now in the 7th grade.
6th.
You're going into the 7th grade.
I'm going
next
into the
year.
7th grade.
6th grade now.
I grew 3 inches.
You shaved for the first time?
Yeah.
Shave your little stashierino?
Yeah. I'm growing it back, though.
Here's the thing. You know that old thing about that people say about once you shave, you like if you keep shaving, it gets thicker and thicker. Mm-hmm. If that were true, I would have so much hair on my head right now.
Yeah. If that was true, then I would have like a little tiny Pedro mustache in the 6th grade.
Pedro mustache. Yeah, instead of the little peach fuzz thing you got going on there.
I know.
Yeah, so that's not scientifically proven, I don't think. I don't think science backs that up. I think
What about bald people?
if they shave their head, it doesn't grow. It doesn't encourage hair to grow by shaving. Right?
Yeah.
Science doesn't back that up.
Why would it do that?
Yeah, it doesn't. You know what encourages your beard to grow?
Puberty.
Yeah. You get older, your hormones and stuff kick in, and then your hair thickens up.
Yeah, because if a guy like shaves his beard normally and he decides to grow it out, why isn't it just endless tufts of hair all over his face?
Yeah. Or what if somebody never shaved ever? They
Never grew
also
hair.
would never have hair? Come on, man. I've seen babies born with a ton of hair. And I know they haven't shaved, they're shaving in the womb. Yeah. So, no, that doesn't work. But
A kid on the bus, I read the bus now, so. A kid on the bus told me that on Friday, it was Dr. Seuss's birthday today. Again, he was in kindergarten or 1st grade.
that today was Dr. Seuss's birthday or yesterday, Friday?
Today. He said,
Today, Saturday.
yes, because he said,
Oh,
quote,
for those of you that are listening to this, we are recording this on Saturday, March 2nd.
yes.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about yesterday and today.
Yeah, so yesterday was Friday, and he said, did you know that tomorrow is Dr. Seuss's birthday? I was like, nope.
Cool. Is it?
I'm not sure.
Google.
All right.
Let's ask Google. Where's my... Here.
Oh, we've been watching this show. Really trippy.
Were we asking?
When is
Dr.
Seuss?
Seuss's birthday? There it is right there.
Wow.
March 2nd, 1904. He was right.
Hey, let's go, kindergartner.
Man, that's the first time I've ever proven the kindergartner to be right.
Well, happy birthday, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, and congratulations, kindergartner.
Yeah.
I've never known a kindergartner to be right about anything before, ever.
Yeah, me neither.
Bunch of idiots.
I used to be an idiot.
I still am. I still am.
Yeah. That's because you
don't agree to that.
What?
You don't agree to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, you're an idiot, Dad. I concur. What does concur mean? Okay. So, Dr. Seuss's birthday. Wow. Oh, what were you going to say? Oh, about the show that we've been watching?
Yeah, it's called We Bear Bears.
Dude, it's from Cartoon Network. They have
congrats, you have the best show I've ever seen.
Dude, they have a season 3 on Netflix right now. It's 54 episodes. If that says anything about the show, what kind of show it is. The season 3 is 54 episodes. I think, right? 54?
Yeah.
53 or 54.
You just had it open.
Something like that.
Look, go to your...
Oh, yeah, it was on this tab.
Come on.
Come up. There. Let's see. How do I? No.
Uh-oh.
I don't want you to play. Stop. Oh, I'm terrible at navigating this thing. Okay. How many episodes?
So I'm 23.
One season. Season 3. That's all they have online. And 55.
55 episodes.
Even more.
But they all average like 11 or 12 minutes.
Yeah, they're short. They're short episodes.
But they're really trippy whenever they like get weird.
Yeah, they're funny, man. If you're not watching We Bear Bears, you need to go watch We Bear Bears. If you are like, especially if you just want to have like mind-numbing entertainment where you don't have to really think through anything, but you want to laugh, that's We Bear Bears. They had this episode where they started a coffee shop in their freaking cave. These 3 bears, okay?
Okay, it's a polar bear, a panda bear, and a grizzly bear.
Yeah, and they all live together. They call each other brothers. So they're I don't think they're birth brothers, but somehow these guys became brothers. And this episode, oh my God, episode 10 of the current season is the one you have to watch. If you're gonna watch just one episode to give it a shot, Charlie's Bigfoot is the one to watch.
Charlie hurts his foot helping the bears adjust their satellite dish, so they must sneak him into a hospital. Okay, so Charlie...
What is Charlie?
I don't know. It was like a hairy green Grinch.
Is he a Bigfoot?
Bigfoot thing. I don't know.
He's like a monster or an alien, or he's not any kind of normal animal or
He's
human.
like a tall Lorax. A tall green Lorax.
Yeah, he looks like a tall Lorax, but the show has animals and humans, and they kind of coexist in city life. So like these bears, they live in a little cave apartment. They go shopping.
In the woods, yeah.
You know, they like interact with humans. The panda bear is like constantly looking for a chick to date.
The grizzly, he's the leader, kind of.
Yeah, and the polar bear is just
God, that freaky dude.
He's just odd. He refers to himself in the third person
as Ice Bear.
Yeah, and he doesn't speak in complete sentences. He's just like, I don't know, man. But then in that one episode where the sandwich was missing, he like pulls out the dragon thing and like breaks down the door. So I don't know if he's like ninja trained or what.
Okay, I don't think we can stay on this subject if they haven't watched it.
Oh yeah, yeah, we're probably going too far. But look, if you're gonna watch anything,
Episode 10, Season 3, Charlie's Bigfoot.
Charlie's Bigfoot is definitely the one to watch.
They're trying to watch this show called Swords and Knights. Swords and
Castles
Kings?
and Swords.
Castles and Swords. and Charlie refers to everybody as Mr. Castles and Mr. Swords.
Which one is Mr. Castle? Which one is Mr. Sword?
And the dish goes out.
Yeah.
So Charlie goes up there to fix it. This like 7 foot tall, green, big hairy Lorax.
And he is odd. He is weird, like super weird.
He refers to Panda as his best friend.
Yeah. He goes to fix the satellite dish and he falls off the roof. And he's like inverted his foot. It is the most horrific looking foot accident ever.
But he can bend it really weird. You just have to watch it. I don't think it's something that we can describe to you.
Yeah.
It's too vivid.
Yeah, you definitely got to go. You got to go catch that show. All right, real quick, we're going to be producing new episodes now, and so I'm going to try to jump back in where I left off last year in producing 2 episodes a week, Mondays and Thursdays, but that's not a promise. That's just what I'm going to goal towards. Definitely, we're going to produce 1 episode per week on Mondays, and then we'll see where we go from there. But I got big plans. We've got people that we want to bring on and have other guests and have other things that we talk about and just have a good time. So that's what's coming for the Tamale Mafia podcast. And another thing we're going to do is kind of break up the show into segments. And so we're really the goal is going to be like 15-minute segments. So we'll do like 15 minutes and then break it up, do some advertising I don't have any advertisers, but I've got things that like I want to talk about that my friends are doing. So I want to advertise for them and kind of break up the conversation. So it's not just like an hour solid of me rambling, but it'll kind of be broken up and it'll be an opportunity where we can promote other things that are going on. I want to talk about things that my friends are doing too. So,
all right, let's get to it.
All right, so coming up, we're gonna take a little break here and talk about my cousin's podcast. But when we come back from that little break, we are talking about Momo.
Momo, anti-vaxxers.
And how anti-vaxxers plague the world. All right. Momo and plaguing the world is coming up. All right. So, but first, before we do that, I want to talk about my cousin Paul. He has a brand new podcast that he's launched a couple of weeks ago. It is called Just Breathe. He's on the Anchor platform, and I think I was looking on his site. Oh, that's not the right. I was looking and on the Just Breathe site, and he has like 7 different platforms that you can listen on. So the Anchor app, I think he's on iTunes and a bunch of other stuff. So
sorry.
So yeah, you can search him up and check him out there. He's got a Facebook page. His Facebook page is called Just Breathe PD. Facebook.com/JustBreathePD.
His name is Paul.
You go right there? What's going on here? That's your soda that's made. I was like looking for the static in the line, and it's your soda. Dude, we're going to have to ban soda from this podcast.
Oh, all right.
Or some people would call it pop or Coke. I don't know. I say soda. What do you say?
Root beer.
Root beer.
Root beer.
Okay, back to Just Breathe. So here's what I want to do. I don't want to just talk about Just Breathe because I want to give Paul the opportunity to talk for himself. And one of these days he's going to come on here and we're going to talk about his podcast. But since he's not here right now, I want to go in and I want to play some clips of his show that I think are phenomenal. He's got this. One of the things that he does is he talks about current topics or things that are on the top of his kind of like off the top of his brain while he's on his way to work or on his way home from work. So he's got these segments he's called them On the Road, and he just random things that he thinks of, he records them. So in this clip, you're going to hear some background noise because he's driving. So you're going to hear some background noise, but just He's talking about what if his city, San Antonio, Texas, was like the fact that his city is panics at the slightest sound of any kind of news, weather, anything like that. They just panic and they go berserk, and the whole city seems to shut down. And so he's kind of talking about what would happen if his city was overrun by zombies. But in this clip, he's talking about kind of how his city reacts to things, and it's really funny.
Another thing they do is they will clear out some grocery stores if a hurricane is anywhere within 6,000 miles. Our grocery store chain is called H-E-B. And if a hurricane is coming to New Orleans, all of our H-E-Bs will be empty of bread, chips, condoms, beer. Now that I think about it, that's probably a pretty good weekend. But everything's gone. You can't get Doritos.
That's awesome. I love it. And then I want to play this other clip for you guys. This is he talks about, he tells a story. Another thing that he does is he tells stories from his life. And this is one that he was talking about. He thought his dog was going to die. And so he was preparing himself and his family for this situation that was happening. And he was going to have to dig a grave in the backyard. So this is part of him talking about that.
I bent down, I aimed my spoon, and I plunged it into the ground.
Hold on, stop it.
Very little...
Okay, so, how about you tell it real quick?
Oh, okay. So about the spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was looking for a shovel, and he had a shovel, but he explains in the episode that it could better be characterized as a large spoon. It didn't really qualify as a shovel. So when he talks about a spoon in this episode, that's what he's talking about, his large spoon that he's trying to dig this grave with.
I bent down, I aimed my spoon, and I plunged it into the ground. Very little damage was done. Stood back up, kind of took a deep breath. And as I stood up, one of those branches, those pointy-edged dead branches, ripped into the back of my neck skin. I yelled at a curse word, and being that this podcast is supposed to be family-friendly, I will not say what it is, but it may rhyme with duck. And then I threw the spoon across the yard. I remember yelling out, "Seriously?" You know that question you ask someone out there in the atmosphere? I don't know if it's God, but you want someone to answer that? I left that hanging in the sky as I walked over and picked up my spoon and came back. I adjusted my stance, and I took another dig in the ground. This time, though, it broke up satisfyingly. I continued to dig, and then I heard the back door close. I looked up, and I saw Aiden was walking towards me. His little, round, 6-year-old face had an inquisitive peak to it, and it was tear-stained. And he walks over to me and he goes, "Is this where you're going to bury him?" He was full on still sobbing, but still delivering some painfully difficult questions. I looked over. "Yes, son." He continued. He is gonna live out here now?" I thought about the question and I was like, not technically live, but I did leave that answer, obviously. "Yes, son." I started to answer. "He will live out here now." My daughter joined us in the backyard, but she kept her distance and kind of watched. I continued to dig. The spoon would go into the dirt and then hit a solid surface. So maybe like a rock or something, but I was determined. We had to get this done. So I lifted up my spoon one more time and drove it into the ground with force. This time, a bright yellow cable split down the middle and went up both sides of the spoon.
Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, I could listen to it all day. I love that his show. I love what he's doing. And I think his podcast is going to be huge. So
It's very interesting.
yeah,
Go check it out.
jump over there and check it out. It's Just Breathe on multiple platforms, but you can check it out. I'll put a link to it wherever you can find me. I don't know where you can find me yet, but wherever you can find me, there will be a link. I mean, Tamale Mafia has a Facebook page, and you can also, Tamale Mafia was also found on multiple platforms. So, yeah, we'll get into all that later because right now we're just relaunching, and I'm not sure exactly where everything's going to be yet. But we do have a Facebook page, and I'll put a Just Breathe link up there on that Facebook page if I can remember how to get into it.
All right.
All right. So we need some music. I was thinking we need some transition music.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of we're going in and out of if we're going to do segments, we need music. Let's put that on the board for next time. But here's the thing. Let's talk about Momo.
I hate that.
Let's talk about this Momo challenge. The thoughts that have been running through my mind about this Momo challenge is I haven't really shared it anywhere because I don't want to be overly offensive in my take or like in my delivery. So I got to be a little careful how I present it because I don't want anybody thinking that I'm talking about them specifically. So a lot of people have been posting about the Momo challenge on Facebook, and so I just want to respond to every single time that I see a post. I want to respond to it, but I don't want that person to think that I'm like talking about them specifically because I'm really not. It's just I think it's ridiculous that people are afraid of things that they've never seen or experienced or heard. They're freaking out about something that has never happened. There's no Momo. Who has seen the Momo challenge? Whose kid do you know has been watching a YouTube channel and a Momo challenge has popped up? Who? Every single post that I've ever seen has never been, oh, my son was watching this. Now, I have heard people say, oh, my son was watching a Peppa Pig show that turned violent where Peppa started killing his family or something like that. There's like imposter episodes of certain kid shows. Now, I've seen that, and that's true because people that I know have had that happen to their kids, and I've seen videos that were meant for kids or would look like they would be meant for kids that are really not appropriate for kids after you get into watching the video. So I know that exists. But I'm talking about the Momo challenge specifically. Who has had this Momo image pop up and start talking to their kid?
No one.
Nobody.
I've heard people be like, if you see this, crush your phone and throw it in a garbage dispenser and eat it,
Yeah, if you see this. Because they're always referencing...
It's never when you see this or have you seen this.
Yeah, or next time you see this.
Yeah.
They're always referencing something that happened to somebody else. So they're like, oh, well, I read this thing that this lady had this thing happen to her kid. And it's like, dude, no, that didn't happen. YouTube came out and said they have had no reports of any kind of violent hijacked videos with a Momo challenge. They haven't pulled any videos that have that content in them. They haven't even had videos like that reported to them. So where's the Momo challenge? Where does it exist? Nowhere. It's not real. And people we're getting to a point in our society where people are afraid of being afraid. They're afraid of things that are scary. That's all it is now. And so somebody's like, I see people post on Facebook, oh my God, my kid is so scared today because all the kids at school are talking about the Momo challenge and my kid is scared. But do you understand that like you're scared of something that you've not experienced. You're scared of being scared. I mean, that's the society we live in where people are afraid of being afraid. It's like, I don't know, man. It's frustrating to me. It's frustrating. And then people keep talking about it. And it's like, okay, the Momo image.
Okay, yeah. a Japanese artist, sculpture person made the what would be called Momo 3 or 4 years ago. And at first, nobody really thought anything about it. Nobody was like, I'm going to use this to kill kids, you know?
Yeah. Well, the artist just made the image just as a piece of art.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with any kind of challenge or even, I don't think it was even intended to be used as a fear device. It was just a piece of art. But somehow it's got attached. I mean, can you imagine being that artist where you're like, everybody's protesting your image and you're like, that was my school project. That's self-portrait. like a really bad artist. I made that was supposed to be my grandma. Yeah, and now it's like the Momo. Come on, man. What is a Momo anyway? Isn't a Momo like what some people call their
Search it up real
grandma?
quick.
Mimi,
Momo.
Mimi, Momo.
Mimi. I don't know. Search it
Meemaw.
up. Search it up real quick.
I'm gonna search something. I'm gonna search
If
up.
you search up Momo, then it'll pop up.
I know. I'm gonna search up Momo, and I'm gonna be on some kind of government watch list.
Let's hope.
There. The Momo challenge is not real. The Momo challenge is a hoax. This is what I've been saying. Come on, man.
Actually contacting Momo, she answered. Okay. Retarded.
Yeah, it's all a hoax. The Momo challenge it doesn't exist. It's a hoax, non-existent social media challenge. Yeah, that's according to Wikipedia, and we all know Wikipedia doesn't lie.
Honestly.
So, come on, man. Can we just stop with the freaking Momo crap? You know, we got all these people that are afraid of being afraid. It was like when the clowns thing was a big deal.
Like 2015.
Yeah, before, it was like there were no killer clowns, and there was just a bunch of people dressing up as clowns because the hysteria was already there. So there were clown sightings, but it was
Not murderous, violent.
no,
clowns.
it was just kids like trying to scare people because people were terrified of murderous clowns. Who's been murdered by a clown? There was one lady, and this is a true documented story. She was murdered by a clown, but it was her husband's mistress that dressed up as a clown to murder her because the lady
Yeah, nobody ran.
absolutely loved clowns. She loved them. So the mistress dressed up as a clown, and when the lady was like, "Oh my God, look at that clown," shot her in the head. Yeah, that's a true story. But as far as like random murderous clowns,
Nobody murders anybody for fun, randomly. Right? That's happened rarely.
True that random murders like that would have to be like a thing of serial killers, that are pretty. But even serial killers have usually they have like a type of person they go after. They like blonde girls with blue eyes, or they like
Aryans.
gay boys, or they like they want to go after a certain race. It's
Like Charles Manson.
totally random killings in the history and over the span of history is pretty rare. Usually, it's like there's motive. And
I feel like you could say terrorist attacks, but I don't think that those are on random people. I think it's meant to on a
it's still
9/11.
targeted.
Yeah, it's targeted for America.
Yeah, it's targeted against race, religion, usually those two things, nationality. But as far as completely random killings, it's fairly rare over the course of history.
Minimal.
Those killings have been well documented because they are so rare. Usually, there's a reason, there's a cause, there's some kind of motive that connects it all together as far as the victims go. But people buy into this mass hysteria, and so now you've got like people boycotting YouTube or whatever, because they're afraid that their kid is going to see something. It was like,
Oh, you know what? A lot of celebrities and a lot of rich people, wealthy people, are boycotting Gucci for their blackface.
yeah,
I feel like that's something that we should talk about before it dies.
about blackface.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel did that blackface thing.
yeah, but why does nobody care?
I don't
How
know.
come they're not in trouble for it?
I'm not sure.
Because they're left-wing liberals.
What is a left-wing liberal?
A liberal person is like not conservative, not Republican.
Not Democrat.
Most Democrats are left side liberals.
Oh.
But even further left you go into socialism and then communism. That's like far left, far left.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a spectrum there. But usually most of Hollywood and entertainers are on the left side. They're liberal mostly now, or like really swinging towards socialism. But the as far as the blackface stuff, you have there's something on my hands. It's a splinter.
Oh. All right. As far as the blackface thing goes.
As far as the blackface thing goes, you have, if like a conservative Christian or Republican dressed up in blackface, it would be a major deal. You'd lose your job. You would, especially if you were a celebrity. Look, Roseanne Barr lost her job, and worse, they try to delete her from her Twitter platform and all this stuff.
They took down her whole freaking show.
Yeah. No, they made her sign a contract saying that the show would kill her off so that the people on the show that worked on the show could keep their jobs, because she was concerned that they were all going to get fired because of what she said. And so they said, well, if we kill you off so that you can never come back to your show, then we'll keep the show going with a new name. And so they did. She signed it so that people could keep their jobs.
What is the new name?
The Connors.
Is it successful?
No.
What is it about?
The ratings dump. It's just the same show without her. She died in the first episode. They did her funeral. She wasn't in it. They just talked about her dying, and then they went on about the show. But it's like, you can't have a show called Roseanne without Roseanne in it. Even if you change the name, it's still the same show without her in it. And then she got fired because she said that this lady looked like, I don't know, she said something that was borderline racist. I'm not going to go through it all. But, it's just it's like this whole blackface thing that's come up recently is just kind of showing the way people react to certain groups and don't react to other groups. Like, Roseanne can't even tweet something that might be borderline racist.
Like, even remotely.
Yeah, she can't
Even skims the top of
race. And she'll get all that happened to her, and then you've got other guys that are actually dressing up in blackface, and they don't lose their job. There's not a tweet about them. There's nothing. It's like they keep their show. They just go right along.
But I don't. Okay. Well, it was still wrong because Jimmy Fallon's a butt.
Well, yeah, it's wrong. I mean, nobody.
Did he even receive
Nothing.
hate for it?
Not much. He didn't address it when it was brought up. He didn't address it.
Did anybody directly bring it up to him?
Well, the media brought it up.
Oh.
I don't know if anybody asked him directly, but they brought it up in the media. So, I don't know.
All right.
All it shows me is that we need a plague.
Yeah,
We need a plague.
to kill off people like blackface Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the anti-vaxxers, because we said we were going to talk about this, so we need to talk about this. The anti-vaxxers are ushering in a wave of plagues,
Yeah,
which is good.
there was a chart, an actual scientific chart with data that said that a disease that became vaccinated in like around the 1980s, like circa 1980, all right? It was gone, all right? No one heard of it until like now. And since everybody's not vaccinating their children, it's come back. I don't remember what it's called, but it came back in 2017.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm pro anti-vaxxer.
Pro. I just don't want to be anti-vaccinated. I want my vaccines.
Yeah, well, I think you got them, but
Why am I hearing about this now?
I think the reason I'm pro anti-vaxxer is because I think we need a plague. I think we need some disease to come in and wipe out some people. We've got a couple billion to spare,
Yeah.
and hopefully we get some of the idiots get caught up. This is another thing I was going to say. This is the offensive thing I was going to say about the Momo challenge. Okay, let me circle back to that before we go on to the next thing, because this is like why we need a plague. The anti-vaxxers ushering in these plagues is a good time because you have these freaking Momo challenge people. Look, if your kid is dumb enough to be watching a YouTube video and Momo comes in and says, "Go kill your family," and your kid is going to come at you with a knife and try to murder you because Momo said so, I mean, that's just, dude, first of all, fuck that kid. I would pump that kid through a window coming at me with a knife. But if your kid is dumb enough to be watching a video and that video says, "Hey, go jump off a building," and your kid is going to do it, let him do it.
Don't fight it.
Don't fight it. For the sake of humanity, don't fight it. Let your kid, like, where are you going? I'm going to jump off this building. Why? Momo said so. Go right ahead. Sorry to slow you down. Just go right ahead. I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm just stupid people, man. I'm not saying I'm the smartest person on the planet by any means. And I may even get caught up in a plague. All right. But I don't know. We need to thin it out a little. Maybe the plague will wipe out some of the Momo challenge people.
Yeah.
And maybe the plague will start the zombie apocalypse that's going to attack San Antonio, where Paul's freaking out in his episode, Zombies in the City. Go check it out at Just Breathe. You like how I tied that in there? Yeah, brought it back around. All right, guys, we're going to take another break here. I want you to listen to something I found. I was going through music on my my old hard drive, and I found a song that I wrote a long time ago, and I recorded, and it's really kind of a bad recording, but I wrote this song. It like never got out of our rehearsal. Like I wrote it, I played it, we rehearsed it a few times, and we may have played it once somewhere, but probably didn't. It's kind of embarrassing to listen to, but check it out. It's called "I Run to You."
across the sea, praying you'll be right beside me, and I run to you, and I fall into the grave. Take my hand, I will lead you away from this till you find rest. I walk the street straight to your heart, wondering why you've been running and why you've been hiding from me. I cross the sea, praying you'll be right beside me, and I run to you, and I fall into your arms. Take my hand, I will lead you away from this till you find rest, and happiness is found in the place you've been running from. You will run to your heart. You will fall into his grace. Take his hand, he will lead you away from this. He'll give you rest.
Wow, we're gonna have to cut that. What happened? Hello. Hey. You can hear me from both ears right now. If you can, this is my audiobook called 50 Shades of Grey. Broski. What happened, man? Will it go back on? Funky.
Weird. I'm back.
All right.
Well, yeah. So, I wrote that a long time ago.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, most people haven't. It sucked.
Your high notes are kind of sketchy.
Yeah. Well, I recorded that in my living room of my old house, just onto my laptop directly. And
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sketchy, but it was just kind of a scratch track that we could use for rehearsal sake. But I think the song it had potential, but I don't know why the script at the end flips for no reason to like singing about God. It's like, what does the rest of the song have to do with anyway? Nothing.
Exactly.
You know why I had to throw that in there? Because at the time I was like, we're a Christian rock band. We're a Christian band, and that was like when I was exploring with like different kinds of music, trying to not just write hard rock songs all the time. I have another one that I wrote. It was like country.
Oh boy, I'm not trying to listen to that. I feel
That
like
was horrible.
two guys, like straight, just in like Alabama said, all the other genres of music are too good. Let's make one horrible one. And they said country.
No.
Yeah.
Country music is awesome.
In some formats.
Yeah, some of it is great, but some of it is horrible.
Most of it is horrible.
Pop country is horrific.
Yeah.
Should have never been invented.
Like a dude having a country accent singing about like what? Horses?
Horses can be a good topic.
No, not in pop country.
Oh, and pop country is mostly like, it's you and me, girl. Get up in my truck. We're gonna go down and get stuck in the mud.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And then halfway through, there's like some guy going, "Come on, girl, get down with me." Do do ba do, like trying to rap.
With a real, is it raining?
I don't know.
Hold on.
Is it that important? Do we need to pause the podcast to see if it's raining?
No,
outside?
I swear I just thought I heard it rain. It was just background noise, guys.
I hear it too. It's the heater.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, we've said it all. Almost. We've come a long way.
From our last podcast.
Yeah, I like the breaking it up into segments. We're just going to have to find a smoother way to do it.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Wow, that heater's booming.
Yeah.
Okay, we might watch a couple of episodes of We Bear Bears and then start it back up.
Huh?
So we might watch a couple of episodes of We Bear Bears and start it back up because that heater is a lot.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean, what am I talking about? Can you not hear me?
I can hear you, but are you saying that the heater is being recorded on the...
Yes.
It's being picked up by the microphones?
It is.
I don't hear it in my headphones.
You don't?
I don't hear like where it's...
I mean, I'm not sure. It's hard to justify. Well, now I don't hear it at all. So. Whatever.
Okay, that's like 6 minutes I gotta edit out.
Need 6 minutes, not 6 minutes.
You good? You good, fam?
I don't know. I want to pause it real quick.
Okay.
Pause the podcast. How do we do that?
I'm not pausing that. It's just gonna keep running. We'll cut it out later.
Okay. I want to watch an episode of We Bear Bears.
In the middle of this?
It's fine, bro. I don't know what to talk about, though. We have to talk about the Comedian's Comic / BU for 15 minutes.
No, we're way past 15 minutes.
But you said you have to cut out 6 minutes, so that puts us back up to... Actually, that puts us at
Jesus.
16 minutes, believe it or not. Whatever. All right, let's keep going. What should we talk about now?
Okay, I want to burn this podcast.
Bro.
Where's that coming from?
Downstairs.
I think he's funny, man. I think Norm Macdonald is hilarious
Why?
because he's so weird.
I mean,
He has a show on Netflix called Norm Macdonald Has a Show. It's like a talk show, but it's the worst talk show ever. He has good guests and he has pretty good interactions with them, but he is just so freaking weird.
what does he do?
He just goes like, "Okay, we're gonna take a break now, and when we come back, more with you." And then he just sits there. They're on Netflix. They don't take breaks. They don't go to commercials. And then he's like, "And we're back." It's so stupid. And he's got this sidekick that like doesn't really do much. And then at the end of the show, they sing a song together, but neither one of them really know the lyrics. It's so dumb. Anyway, I think Norm Macdonald is a really funny guy, but not everybody will appreciate his comedy. I can understand.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. There's that soda again.
Yep.
Bill Burr was talking about the about that like comedy eye, the comedian's comic, and like there's like there's things that people laugh at, like knock knock jokes, or there's like a different planes of comedy, and there's certain planes of comedy where only comedians will get that comedy. Normal people would be like, I don't know why that's funny. I don't think that's funny. But then you have to like really like studying the joke kind of you start to understand how it's like Norm Macdonald. We not gonna have it in the podcast audio, but we just watched this video of Norm Macdonald doing the roast of Bob Saget years ago. And it's just really funny because he's like, that one part where it got me, because that one part where he's like, you have a lot of well-wishers here in the audience. They want to throw you down one, a well. These people want to murder you in a well.
Yeah, that's funny because
Yeah, that's like that line right there is just awesome because he keeps pushing the point all the way to the clarity of it. He's just like, they want to throw you down one, a well. These people want to murder you in a well. Then he says it again. Apparently, they want to murder you in a well, according to this card that he wrote. I find that hilarious, man. But not everything is. I understand. Not everything is funny. Not everybody's gonna find every single thing funny. It's like the watermelon joke. Okay.
all right.
Okay. The watermelon joke is. Oh, and I just realized because we cut the Norm Macdonald audio out of the podcast, there's no segue between the previous segment and what we're talking about now. It's just it's literally just going to jump right into us going, man, that was funny. But hopefully people are still have listened through that and now they're catching up to what happened there. We had to cut out the audio because there's you can't use somebody else's material without permission. So I wanted to talk about how I thought Norm Macdonald was funny, but I couldn't really find a way to segue into it. I couldn't really find a way to jump into it. So I just had to watch the video clip that I was going to refer to. But then I realized we can't actually include the video clip or the audio. So there's no segue, and it's going to be awkward. But if you've listened this far, maybe now you understand how we got to where we're at.
Yeah.
So I digress. Backing up a little, the watermelon joke, okay? there's this joke that, I mean, look, I've been studying comedy since I was a little kid. And one of my bucket list items is someday I want to do a stand-up comedy, like open mic, and tell some of my funny stories. But, you know, so I'm a fan of comedy. I've been studying like all the way back from the vaudeville days and gone way back when I was a kid watching like the Marx Brothers and Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges,
Classics.
all the classics, yeah. The Lucy, Ricardo, I Love Lucy, you know, Fred and Ethel Mertz, you know, all those people were all vaudeville kind of actors and stuff before they moved into television. So I've been really picking apart comedy, just appreciating because I like to laugh. But then as I got older, really picking apart comedy and listening to some of the greats, like Mel Brooks, who's like the guy behind
Spaceballs.
and Blazing Saddles and like a lot of those other like crazy movies. Listening to him talk about what he finds funny and how to break down a joke and like what makes a joke funny is he has a phenomenal interview with Jerry Seinfeld on comedians in cars getting coffee.
Is that guy still alive?
Mel Brooks, yeah, he's pretty old.
Jeez.
I think he's still alive. I don't know. Let's see. Google.
All right, getting back to it.
You know, we need an Alexa co-host. You'd be like, Alexa, bing. Let's see.
I'm not sure that she makes that sound.
Bing dong.
Mel Brooks.
Bloop. What sound does she make? Ding ding bing.
I don't think she makes. Gosh darn, that guy's ancient. Holy crap.
Yeah, apparently he's still alive.
92?
Yep. 92. What a brilliant man. Hilarious. Anyway, so having been a fan of comedy and trying to, and then learning how to break down comedy, and then like a lot of the podcasts I listen to are by comedians, like my favorite, Bill Burr, and just kind of like watching his comedic mind work and stuff. But he was the one that was talking about the comedian's comedian. But anyway, there was this joke that I had in a dream, and I woke up laughing, like I was hysterically laughing so hard that I woke myself up, and I was laughing as I woke up. And I thought about, like, you know how sometimes you have a dream and then you try to remember it, but it's immediately gone, and you're like, dang it, what was that? What happened? This one, like, I was like, I got to remember this, and it stuck with me.
And there's no way that you can forget it now.
Yeah, it's in there, especially since I've been telling the story. But so I was like, I got to remember this, and then I did. So when I woke up, like I went back to sleep, and then I woke up the next morning to get ready for work. I was like, oh yeah, that joke. Do I still remember it? Yes, I do remember it. And then I was like, damn, that's not funny at all. Like, there is nothing funny about this joke. Why did I think it was so hilarious last night? And so as I thought through the joke, I was like, no, there's nothing redeemable about this. It's not funny at all. So then later that evening, I was going to dinner with Dax, and I was telling him, I was like, hey, man, I had this dream where I woke up laughing with this joke, but when I woke up and remembered the joke, it was like, it wasn't funny at all. He was like, well, what was the joke? And I was like, no, I don't know. I mean, it was stupid. It didn't make any sense. He's like, well, tell me the joke. I will see. And so as I started to tell the joke out loud, and this is the thing, it was like, if I tell it in my head, it just doesn't sound funny. But when I say it out loud, it starts to sound funny again. Even now, like I think about it, I'm like, this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But then I say it out loud, and it's funny again. So I don't know if it's just one of those things where it's like you have to have been there kind of stories, or it takes on some kind of nuance by speaking it. I don't know. But anyway, so I had this dream, and in this dream, there was a lady, and she was kind of heavy set, but she was wearing like shorts and a tank top. So you could see a lot of skin. Her entire body, as far as I could tell, all the parts that were showing were covered in tattoos. But there was all one theme, like one theme of tattoos, like vines. Basically started from her head all the way to her feet, vines. And then on the vines were like little fruits and vegetables, like little ones. But they were like poorly drawn, so it was like something like a little kid would draw, or maybe like a stamp collection, like just really poorly drawn, kind of faded looking fruits and vegetables. It was like squash, grapes, bananas, watermelons, whatever, all on these vines. And in the dream, I thought, what if somebody had a baby and they tattooed the baby to look like a watermelon, like from head to toe? They tattooed the baby to look like a watermelon. And then when somebody would walk by and be like, damn, what's wrong with that baby? The parents would be like, oh, it's a watermelon. I don't know why that's kind of funny, and it's really not funny. It's stupid. I mean, who would tattoo their baby? First of all, if you tattooed your baby, you'd probably go to jail.
A watermelon?
Yeah, but head to toe, watermelon. It'd be like green with little stripes. Yeah. So I don't know. You guys can tell us if you think that was funny. I don't know if it's funny or not. I laugh when I tell it because it's so stupid. But when I had the dream, it was hilarious. I was like, the baby's a watermelon. And I can picture like the baby being a watermelon. But anyway, so I don't know, man. I think not everything is funny, obviously. People have different sense of humor and stuff. But we really, and this is kind of going back to the Momo thing and the anti-vaxxers and all these, for and against, and, people picking sides and kind of battling it out over things, over topics and stuff. It's like comedy is it's the same thing. It's become divisive. And it used to be something that was that people could come together on. You would laugh about stuff. You could laugh about hard things. You could laugh about difficult topics. Because you can, when you're stressing out or you're feeling worried about something, if you laugh, kind of break the ice, and kind of breaks the tension, and if you can find things to laugh about, it kind of keeps you moving forward, But now it's people just want to fight over comedy. People want to fight over opinions. You can't say that. I can't believe you said that. You're a racist. And all of a sudden, everybody's getting in trouble. And I don't know if what we were talking about blackface earlier with Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and those guys. I mean, I don't know if because they're comedians, if they should be judged for that or they should get in trouble for that. The fact is they didn't get in trouble for it. Roseanne was a comedian too, and she did get in trouble for what she said. So it's I don't know where the society, the social balance are, and who decides who gets in trouble for what or whatever. But I think if everybody's going to get in trouble, everybody should get in trouble. But I personally don't think anybody should get in trouble for that stuff. I think doing blackface is wrong, obviously. Yeah. And I don't think it should be done. I think it should be addressed hey, I didn't realize what I was doing at the time was stupid, should have never done that or whatever. But you shouldn't lose your career over it. And comedians shouldn't lose their career over trying to be funny. Because sometimes you'll say things that are stupid on purpose, Mm-hmm. It's like me saying, if your kid is going to jump off a building because the Momo told it to, you should let your kid jump off the building. I don't really mean that a kid should die by jumping off a building. But it is kind of funny to say it.
It's for the comedic value.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a funny thing to say, and if it's offensive, it's because it's you're talking about a harsh topic, but I'm also trying to push the absurdity of it, and so I think a lot of times people are afraid of saying things or having opinions now. You can't have an opinion because all of a sudden opinions are bad or opinions are wrong. Mostly because if your opinion is different than mine, then you're wrong and you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't think that. You shouldn't say that or whatever. So I don't know, man. I think we just need a plague to come in and wipe everybody out. But no, I think people need to not be afraid of being offensive. This podcast is offensive from time to time because I talk about things that I talk about things that I have experienced. I talk about things that I think are my opinions or my thoughts on things. So inevitably, somebody somewhere is going to be offended by something I say. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, even if I could go this whole podcast and everything would be fine. People would listen along. They might not think I'm funny. They'd be like, oh, whatever. They can listen to the whole podcast, and then they'll hear me say fuck once. And they're like, oh, my God. I can't believe he said that, man. I don't want to listen to this anymore. You know, it's just like, dude, get over yourself, man. Come on. What are we doing here?
Yeah. I think that even if this first warming up podcast, you know, it wasn't really that good to the listener, I think we still are getting started. Because it's the first podcast in a year, you know?
Yeah. It's a little rough.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't be judged for it. Criticism is...
Yeah. Hey, man. This is like one of the things that I've told other people, not just in podcasting, but like people who are like trying to create art or trying to create something that's in their head. They want to do something and they just try to do it. You know, just doing it is like way more than what a lot of other people do. So
just go for it.
yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, I think if this podcast kind of sucks and our transitions aren't that great, or you know, our segues weren't great or whatever, it's going to get better because we're going to keep working on it. But at least we're doing it. You know,
Yeah.
at least like I said recently, hey, I think about getting my podcast back together, thinking about relaunching, and then boom, here we are. Let's do it. Not just talk about it, but actually do it. You know,
Yeah.
and that's the same thing I told Paul, because Paul over at Just Breathe, his podcast.
Amazing podcast.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm just getting started, and I think it kind of sucks, and I'm not really sure. And I'm just like, dude, you're doing it, man.
It might, like, I think that it's a really good podcast, and I think because you're the one making the podcast, it's easier to construct and
Yeah,
pick out the little things
right,
that don't matter.
right. Yeah, and you know, he's getting better at it.
He's getting really good at it.
And so it's like, but even if he doesn't get any better at it, he's still doing it. He's still creating content. He's still putting himself out there to do something. And a lot of other people are doing that. So I think, look, if you're going to criticize somebody for what they're doing, then you need to be out there doing something too.
Yeah.
You know, everybody can sit back and what they call them a Monday morning quarterback. You know, because you're not the quarterback out on the field on Sunday. You're the Monday morning guy saying, here's what I would have done and what I should have done. Yeah, well, you're also pushing a broom at whatever. You know what I mean?
Office Depot.
Yeah. You're selling copy machines, man. Shut up. You know, you're not the guy that's out there like has sacrificed his whole life to train and be the best at what he's doing and goes out there and tries to do his best on Sunday and getting hit by giant, monstrous men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, everybody has their opinion and stuff, but if you're going to criticize, you need to be at least doing something too.
Yeah, and anybody that sweeps floor at Office Depot, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if that's your job, we're not picking on you, man. It's just saying, we're just saying, like, be doing something.
Yeah.
If you're gonna criticize, like, if you're gonna be like, oh, that podcast sucked. Okay, man. Well, what are you into? You know, what is your thing? Oh, well, you know, I like to paint. Well, your first painting sucked.
I'm into LARPing.
Your first costume sucked. You know, everything sucks when you get started. It's but you try to get better at it. So,
And inevitably, you'll get good at it. I mean, you'll get better at it.
you would think so, if
I mean, most of the time, all right.
If
I'm
you-
not saying everybody.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I knew this guy that wanted to. He was like, I'm gonna play the trumpet. Okay?
Yeah.
And he went out and bought a trumpet.
Good for him. All right.
He went out and bought white gloves. So he wouldn't fingerprint up his trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
And he would put on his gloves and pull out his trumpet. And he would like stretch it, do like the arm stretch thing, you know?
Yeah.
And then get his little fingers on the buttons for the trumpet, like this. Put it up to his lips. Stretch his arms out. Do the little fingers on the buttons. Put it up to his lips. Get ready to blow. Stretch his arms out. Never would blow in the trumpet. I mean, he would. Yeah. I gotta get this. Gotta get warmed up here. And never would. He
never played it?
No,
Ever?
never.
What is he doing with it now?
I don't know, man. I knew him when I was a teenager.
Wow.
Who knows? Probably didn't last very long. But he had a trumpet that he never played. So, I don't know.
I feel like it's the fear of starting.
Yeah.
Knowing that you'll suck at it.
Yeah. Thinking like, oh, I'm going to be judged because I'm not great at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nobody's great at it when they start. All right, guys. We've said plenty.
Yeah.
We've said it all. Pretty much.
All has been said that needs to be said.
Everything that needs to be said has been said. Thank you guys so much for listening this week.
Yeah.
Look, I want to try to end every episode with a moral. That's what we did last year. So there's some kind of takeaway, some kind of moral of the story. Even though today was a little sketchy, a little bouncy, because we're trying to figure out the new format and segments and trying to get everything smoothed out. We're going to get better at it, we promise. But there's still going to be a takeaway, and that takeaway is this. Be doing something. Okay? Even if you're the guy sweeping floors at Office Depot, be doing something. Just get started. Don't be afraid to get started. Just be out there.
Yeah.
Do something. Be yourself. Believe in yourself.
Don't die from the Momo.
Don't
Challenge.
Don't let a 4-year-old attack you with a knife.
Just like
From the Momo challenge. You punt that kid through a window.
all right.
All right, guys. Peace out. The Tamale Mafia podcast is brought to you by me. Our intro music is also written and produced by me. You can find the Tamale Mafia podcast on iTunes and Podcast Addict. The outro music is brought to you by Lim. For more great tunes from Lim, go to soundcloud.com/getlim. That's soundcloud.com/getlimn. And as always, thanks for listening.